Hello, yeah, welcome to the tutorial. I followed Polygon Runaway's tutorial to make this. I'm going to remake it without the tutorial's help to see what I've retained, and you can follow along to my attempt, or you can just go to Polygon Runaway's tutorial to follow his way, which I would recommend. Anyway, so let's begin. We're going to add a new scene. And in the new scene, we're going to start off with starting the screencast keys so that you can see what I'm pressing. And for some reason, not all of the keys show up, so I'm going to tell you what I pressed if it doesn't pop up. So we're going to add a cube first, then I'm going to tab into edit mode, pull it up a bit, select it all with A, press G, and pull it up to the Z axis. After that, I'm going to scale it on the Y axis, that is S for scale, and then Y for the Y axis. Now I'm going to scale it a little bit on the X axis, same thing, press S for scale and X for the X axis. Now, I'm going to tab out, add a plane as a ground. I'm going to make it big enough so that it covers up enough space for our house. Right now it's too big. Let's fix that. Yeah, just gonna bring it in and make it manageable, you know? Yeah. Now, once we've done that, we can select our house, our cube, move up the camera, press 7 on the number pad to get into the top view, and extrude it on the y-axis to make it a proper wide house. Move it along, adjust it to your liking. Then I'm going to select the edges on both sides on the top, then right click and subdivide to add a new edge in the middle. Yeah. Now I'm going to select the edge and move it up so that we have a house shape, right? Now, after we've made the house shape, we can just select the roof, the two faces, then press P to separate, and yeah, make them into their own object. After that, we're going to select the edges on the both of the sides, and we're going to extrude them out just a little bit so that it looks nice. Now, what I tried to do here was I was thinking that maybe I could use the extrude tool to, extrude them out in their own axes, their own way. I mean, I think it is possible, but I messed up here. So I just grabbed them and I extruded them, like, pulled them out basically. Not like this. This is stupid. Yeah. So I just, selected them, the edges, and then I just pulled them out. And then I did the same thing to the front and back of the house. Now, this is a bit tricky. You would select the edge, you click on G twice, and then you press Alt, and then you move the mouse towards the axis. What pressing double G does is that it lets your edge slide on the same axis. Now you have a house shape thing. Now we're going to add a window. Yeah, this was a window. Okay, so a cube is going to be positioned in that way, right? In the edit mode, we're just doing it, just placing it like how we like it. Nothing big, nothing too serious. Just modeling it out, just boxing it out, placing the boxes, Now, I want to add a door. Now you can add a door using a plane. You can add curves to a plane, which I will show you in the video later, how you do that on the edges. But for simplicity's sake, I'm going to use a circle mesh. Add a circle mesh, rotate it in edit mode, resize it, scale it down, position it in a way that I like it. Then I'm going to select half of the circle and I'm going to move it up. And then I'm going to make sure that it looks nice. The size is what I want it to be, Yeah. Then when I'm happy with this, right, when it looks nice enough for me, what I'm going to do, I'm going to extrude it with E. And then I'm going to select it all and push it back into the house. Right? Yeah. Now, just aligning it so it doesn't really look weird. I'm going to press F to add the faces, and we have a cube thing, capsule thing. Yeah. Now, there's a face at the bottom of the house, which I should probably remove, but I'll remove that in a bit. First, we're going to add the Boolean modifier to the house. Now, after the Boolean modifier, we're going to select the window and the door. Right, we're going to add another Boolean, and then we're going to add the door to it, circle. Now, you can see what this does is it cuts out a perfect piece of the door and the window, door and the window. Now I'm going to just remove the ground face, the base face for the house, because we don't really need that. And I'm going to tab out of edit mode, and yeah, you can see it looks fine, sort of. Yeah. Now, yeah, if I turn on the cube visibility, by the way, you can hide any object by selecting them and then pressing H, and it hides them. To unhide an object, just press Alt and H. Right, so looks like I applied it here, but there is a thing that I forgot to do, which I'm going to go back and do. See, they're supposed to be like having a partition in the house, divided down the middle. Would have been nicer. So instead of doing anything further right now, I'm just going to add a cut. Yeah, I'm going to select the tool that I need to cut it with. I forgot the name. God damn it. Anyway, you can see which tool I selected. Then I'm going to go back, and then I'm just going to apply the booleans. Yeah. So it's the same thing, right? Looks the same, but just that it's a little more organized. I'm just going to select the door's vertices. I'm gonna extrude them outwards a little bit, inwards a little bit. Gonna turn on the X-ray mode so that I can see where I'm extruding them. Yeah, that looks good enough. And I press F to add a face. Now I'm going to tab into edit mode again. I'm going to press 3 on the number row, select all the faces by Then I'm going to Shift D, duplicate, press P to make it a separate object, and tab out edit mode, object mode, select the new walls side thing, tab in edit mode, Alt E, and then extrude along normals so that I can give it some volume. I'm going to just, while still in the face selection mode, in the edit mode, I'm going to delete the faces at the floor, so that I can select the front faces without any issues. Right. Okay, I'm just going to extrude them out a little bit. I'm not really extruding them out, I'm pulling them out. Yeah, on the x-axis. Right. So now you can see we're gonna do something with the window. I'm gonna select this face. I'm gonna press I to inset it. Just give it a moment. Yeah. Okay, I'm talking over the video after recording it, so that's why it's a little out of sync. So after I inset the face, I press E to extrude, then I right click to cancel it, and then I just selected the face and pushed it back a little bit just to make it a little bit better. Yeah, like give it a more give it a little bit of depth. See, I'm going to select the side of the window, just picking which one I should get. Okay, so I do select that, I shift D, duplicate it, and then for some reason I separated it from the main mesh, which I should not have done. Don't do this. Just keep it in the same mesh, right? Just duplicate it, pull it to the side, extrude it, and make it a little bit thick. Right, now you have your window. Looks nice. Looks nice, yeah. Right, now you can see that the house is starting to take shape. We're going to bevel it with the bevel modifier. Yeah, it sounded weird, I know. Just look at the settings that I'm taking in. Let's keep it as close to that as possible. Yeah, this auto smooth, don't forget to do that. That is important. And shade smooth. Now, you're gonna need to do this for all of it. And I'm not really sure why I'm messing with the middle part of the window here. You don't really need to do that unless you're not comfortable with how it looks. Like, it looks fine. Yeah. Now, there's a thing that you can do is you need to copy the modifiers we just applied to everything else in the scene. So you select the thing you want it to be copied to, like the arc of the door, and then you select the house, and then you press Ctrl L, like shown on the screen, and then you just copy the modifier, and then you do all the things like auto smooth, smooth shade, you know, and just make it how you like it. Now on the roof, we did the same thing. I'm just going to make it a little bit thicker. I'm going to select both of the faces, press E, extrude it, then pull it up on the Z-axis. Yeah. Now it's starting to take even more of a house-like shape. Yeah. Okay, so what are we missing? We can add a little bit detail to the house. We can select the roof, Ctrl R to add a loop cut, Ctrl R to add another loop cut to the sides. Now I'm going to add loop cuts to both of these sides just to keep it uniform. And I'm going to add another one on the left and right side. Now instead of adding 3 loop cuts on the middle of the thing, yeah, I know, I'm going to just select the middle one here by Alt and left click to select all of the edges, and I have the edge slide tool enabled to be able to just slide the edge on the other side. And yeah, looks nice, looks good. Now I'm gonna just mess with the bevel here. You can do it too. You can make it as sharp as you want or as light as you want. I'm just playing around with it a little bit. to make it more edgy. Sorry. Yeah, it's starting to take shape. I mean, it's a pretty decent low poly house. Now for the chimney, we're going to select the body of the house again. In edge select mode, we're going to select the edge on the other side, duplicate it, and then press P to separate it from the main mesh. And then we're going to select it again, tap in edit mode. In edge selection mode still, we're going to scale it down on the x-axis. Then we're going to extrude it on the y-axis. And then we're going to select the face, extrude it, and then pull it up. Now, to make it look more of a stylized design, we're going to add a few loop cuts. Ctrl R to add loop cuts. You can use your mouse wheel to tell Blender how many loop cuts you want. You scroll it up, it adds. You scroll it down, it subtracts the loop cuts. Alright, then you just reshape it how you want it. You can alt select the loops. You can alt select an edge to select the whole loop, and then move it up and down as you like. Then I'm going to give it a little bit of space by extruding it to the side. Then I want it to match up, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the edge on the outer side, and I'm going to just push it inside, right? To give it a slope. But as you can see, it's not really aligning. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this edge and the edge next to it, and then I'm going to press M and then merge by distance. Then I'm going to increase the distance size, and they have been merged. Now I'm going to make the exit of the chimney by selecting the face, then insetting it a little bit, extruding it by pressing E, and then pushing it down. Simple. I'm going to make another loop cut, Ctrl R. I could have just moved it with Ctrl R, but I took the long way. Now I'm going to select the faces here because I want to extrude it out, right? I'm going to press E to extrude. I'm going to press S, and then I'm going to press Shift Z to cancel out the Z axis because I don't want to move it in the Z axis. Then I'm just going to extrude it out so that it only extrudes on the X and Y axis, which it did. And it looks nice enough. Now what do we do? Yeah, we're gonna make the tiles on the roof. Now I select the faces on the magnet thing up there, the snapping tool thing. I'm not really sure what it's called, but I selected that. I'm going to add a plane. I'm going to edit it in the edit mode, make it copy the modifiers from the house, and I'm going to just extrude it a tiny little bit after, copying all the settings, the same setting that the house has, right? Now it has a little bit of thickness to it. It looks like a tile. I'm going to press G to move it. Then I'm going to press Control and hold Control while moving it so that it snaps to the nearest face. Right? Now I change another setting to add rotation to it, to whatever object it's snapping to. Now if I click on it, I press G, then I press and hold Control, and then I move it. It's going to move, and it's going to be attached to the surface of whatever object it is supposed to be on. Now I'm not duplicating by pressing Shift D, as you can see. I'm using Alt and D. The reason why I'm doing that is because duplicating with Alt T links the objects. So if you edit one object, the others will edit themselves too. If you add a material to one object, the materials will be added to the others as well. So I'm just placing them out because that's what we do. Then when I'm done, I need to add these same tiles to the other side. Now instead of copying them all and pasting them all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift and right click in the middle of the roof. Then I'm going to add an empty. I'm going to scale it down, Control A, and apply the scale to it. And I'm going to select one of the tiles and I'm going to add the mirror modifier to it. And in the mirror modifier, I'm going to use the eyedropper and select the empty that we just made. You can select any empty, just make sure you can see it. Then I'm going to select all of the other tiles. Then I'm going to reselect the main tile that we added the modifier to. Then I'm going to Control L and then copy the modifiers, so it just copies onto it. And it's looking pretty neat so far. Yep, looks good, looks nice. Very low poly. I'm going to add an antenna. I move the cursor to a specific point on the roof. The same thing, Shift, right click. Why I did that is because wherever the cursor is, that's where a new object pops up. When you add a new object, it pops up on the cursor. So it just makes things easier. I added a cylinder. I'm going to copy the same modifiers to it, make it smooth, shade smooth, auto smooth, and the normals, everything the same thing. And then I'm going to add a vert, a single vert to the mesh. Now there isn't a Blender add-on. It's a native add-on. You can go into the edit preferences things on the top side, and you can find it in the add-on settings. I'll show you how in a bit. Now with the vert, I'm doing the same thing basically, and I'm just extruding it and pulling it up. And make sure to be in the vert selection mode, because in the other modes you might not be able to get a hold of it, because I was having that problem. Now just make the antenna how you like it, and yeah, just take your time making your antenna. And yeah, you can go into the edit option, edit settings on the top, then go to preferences, then go to add-ons, and there's search for an add-on called, I think, mesh objects or more meshes or something like that. Just type in mesh and it will give you a few options, and just enable them all. Not all of them, but like extra object or something like that. And it should give you the option to add the vertex, the single vert. And don't worry, you don't have to follow the antenna process the exact same way that I'm doing it, because it is a bit janky the way I'm doing it. But yeah, so there is a modifier we're going to use for this. It's just pretty cool, looks pretty nice. It's a little bit overwhelming, but it just looks overwhelming. Yeah, I can't really say. I've been talking too much. I've tried to record this for like 2-3 times. Yeah. Okay, so we added the skin modifier to our vert. Just smooth it out and select our vert. Tap into edit mode, Control A, and then just move the mouse down to smooth it out. See? And just make it how you like it. You can make it as thin as you want or as thick as you want. Just make sure it looks good. Okie dokie. Now what we're gonna do, we're going to come towards the plane at the bottom. Yeah, we selected it and then we went into the edit mode. Now what we need to do here is we're going to make it more round, you know, the edges to be more rounded, a rounded square. To do that, we're going to select all of it and we're going to press Ctrl and B, and then you can use the mouse's scroll wheel to add vertices to it, to add more bevel, and 5 or 6 is more than enough. Sorry, 6 or 7. 5 to 7, yeah. And then you can just extrude it a little bit to give it a little bit of depth. Not too much or not too little. This depends on you basically. Then I'm going to copy the top face, Shift D, press P to separate it into a different object, and then I'm going to go into object mode, select the new face that we made, the new plane, and then I'm going to tab into the edit mode to make that pavement thing that we did. And sorry, not the pavement, the grass basically, yeah. So you can see that I'm in the X-ray view. I'm going to keep the door in mind. I'm going to use the knife tool and I'm going to press C to keep the line same. I'm going to press the knife on the one side with the left click, you see, on the screencast. I'm going to press C to make it a straight line. I'm going to go to the other side and I'm going to press enter to make the cut. I'm going to just do another cut, and yeah, it should be done. Yeah. And just one more, just so that I don't cut away too much, because we need a backyard, right? I'm gonna just select the faces, the 3 faces, the sidewalk, I guess, yeah, and the lawn thing, the path, yeah, the doorway path. बाकी सब जमीन पे कब्जा है. Yeah. Now I'm gonna extrude it just a bit, which I should not have done. I'm just looking at how it looks. Should have gone with a straight line, but it's okay. Just teaching. So I'm gonna select it all again. Now see, I extruded it and then I did something, Control Z, but it didn't really extrude it out. I mean, it didn't go far back enough. So I just selected them all and then merged them by pressing M and merge by distance. And then I chose these 3 vertices, Control B, V to select the vertices, and then I just smooth them out. Then I'm going to select the faces, gonna press E to extrude, then gonna use the Z axis to pull it up just a little bit, not too much, yeah. And it's looking like a nice little lawn. Nice little lawn. Yeah. I'm gonna apply the same modifiers that I have on the house. Not apply, sorry, just copying the modifiers and the settings, auto smooth, shade smooth, everything. And you can just change a bit of it, just to, you know, how it feels. Play around with the settings, don't be afraid of them. Okay, the house is coming along nicely. I've been talking a lot. Okay, so we're gonna press shift and right click on the ground, the grass, and then I'm going to add a metaball. So metaballs are really nice. They are easy to work with, but if you add too many, your scene is going to start lagging. So just be careful with the amount of metaballs you add, or the resolution that they're on, basically. You can just make a bush with this, duplicate them, Shift D, no issue here, just keep on keeping on. Make them look however you want. Now I'm gonna select them all, and then I'm going to parent them to 1. Right? I selected them all through the scene because there were too many for me to select normally. Now I'm going to just use the move tool to move them around, and I'm going to select the rotate tool in the object mode to rotate them and make them look more organic. I'm going to duplicate the whole thing. I'm going to rotate it to add variation so that it doesn't look exactly the same. I'm going to duplicate that one, add another one, scale it down, make it look slightly different, rotate it, make it different looking just a little bit, not too much, or too much if that's what you're going for. Yeah, my voice is going because I don't really talk this much. Yeah, just keep on changing it up how you like it and place it down. Let's make sure it's touching the ground so it doesn't look weird. Yeah, it looks nice. It's good. Yeah. Now just place the cursor somewhere else on the ground. Now we're gonna make the grass. Add a plane, edit mode, rotate it, RX90. Scale it down on the x-axis, the z-axis, move it up the z-axis, scale it down again, move it down, scale it down once more on the x-axis, then scale on the z-axis, then zoom into it, and go into edge selection by pressing 2, then select the top edge, E to extrude, pull it up, then extrude again, then you just move it out on the y-axis and just play around with it. See, make a leaf thing. You know how leaves are. They're some of them are fat at the bottom, thin at the top, medium at the middle, right? Just play around with it. Make it your own. Gonna make it a little more curvy, adding a little bit of curve to it, bend it like that. I'm gonna tab into the object mode. I'm gonna press S to scale it down a bit. I'm gonna press Control N2 to add a subdivision of 2 to just give it a shape or form. Then I'm gonna tab into edit mode. Press E to extrude and just extrude it on the y-axis just a little bit to give it some depth and some thickness. Then while staying in the edit mode, I'm going to select it all. I'm going to Shift D and copy it and pull it back and rotate it on the z-axis just to make it look nice, 3 leaves. Then you can select a single object in the edit mode by pressing L while having your cursor hover over it. Gonna duplicate it again, move it on the other side, rotate it on the other side, and yeah, just adjust it like you want to. And you're done with the plant. Now, all you need to do now is scale it down a bit and then just duplicate it by pressing Alt and D and just spread them out on the grass and rotate them and position them however you like. Like I'm using Alt D to duplicate instead of Shift D because I want them to be linked so that when I add a material to one of them, it just copies onto the other one. And I don't have to go and copy the material onto each and every one of them. And if I want to edit them all at the same time, I can by just editing one of them. Okay, so that looks nice. So now we're gonna go ahead and make the mailbox. Gonna place the cursor there, shift right click, and I'm gonna add a cylinder like we did on the top of the roof. Now I'm gonna just scale it down and pull it up by the face on the Z-axis. And I'm gonna select it all. Gonna press S Shift Z to just scale on the Y and X axis. Then I'm gonna scale it down on the Z axis by pressing S and Z. Then I'm gonna move it down just to make sure it's fine. Yeah, so this looks fine enough. I'm gonna press Shift and right click on top of the pole. Gonna add a cube to it. Gonna shrink down the cube, Z-axis, X-axis, and just make it into a box, a rectangular box. You should be doing this in edit mode. I forgot to do it in edit mode, but now I am in edit mode. Yeah, just make it a good enough box. Select the sides and Control B to bevel it. And you can control how many cuts you want by moving your mouse wheel up or down. Now this is mostly up to you, how you want it. You can have 1, 2, 3, it's all up to you. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the front face by going to the face select by pressing 3, pressing I to inset, then pressing E to extrude it inwards. And yeah, then just shade smooth both of them, copy the modifiers, auto smooth them, copy the modifiers from the house. The same step, just gotta repeat it 1 or 2 times. Yeah. Then I'm gonna shift right click on the outside of the mailbox. I'm gonna add a plane to it in object mode. I'm gonna tab into edit mode and rotate it on the X axis, bring it down to size, and just make it so that it's aligned and it's not digging into the mailbox. Make it thin on the X axis, real small on the Z axis. Then I'm just going to select the top edge and just move it up. Then I'm going to press Ctrl R to add 2 loop cuts. Then I'm going to press Yeah, I'm gonna just select the top left edge. Yeah, then extrude it outwards on the x-axis, and it looks like that mailbox thingy that's on the mailboxes. Then just selected it, and I just selected it all and extruded it just a little bit on the y-axis. Then I selected the top faces and pushed it down a bit just to give it a slightly different shape. I selected it and then I scaled it down. And you should apply the scale, Control A, and then apply the scale. Now what we're missing is the bricks. The bricks on the chimney. Yeah. And I just added a cube. Now we're just going to model our bricks and we're just gonna place them on the chimney. And when we get to copying the bricks, we're just gonna do the same thing. Alt D, Alt D, Alt D, Alt D, all day. Sorry. When we get to copying the bricks, we're gonna duplicate them by pressing Alt D so that they're all linked. Yeah, so yeah, this looks nice. I sped that up because I was just copying the bricks and placing them, and I spent an unreasonably long amount of time just doing that, so I just sped that up. And the house looks more or less finished, just a few more things to go. Right, materials. I think I'm missing something still. Other than materials, I guess I need to add a plane. Yeah, I'm adding a plane as a background. I'm gonna stretch it out so that it covers most of the scene. I'm gonna apply the scale. Okie dokie. I'm gonna add a material to the metaballs. Sorry, it's not the metaballs, it's the background. Yeah, a background material. In the plane that we just added, I have that selected, and I added a material to it. Now I selected the house. I'm gonna add a material to it too. I'm gonna name it walls. I'm gonna give it a little brown red color, brownish color. Yeah. Looks kind of skinny. Yeah. Now I'm gonna select the inside of the door by going into the edit mode of the house, and instead of going through all of this, I could just duplicate the door, the face, and then just move that out, which I am going to do. See, I just Control Z it all, and I just select. Yep. Yeah, I know. Shift D. I made it into a separate object, the face, and then I just moved it out in the edit mode by going to the edit mode, then selecting the face, and then moving it on the x-axis. Then I'm adding a doorknob. Now I place the cursor there by shift and right click, and then I use shift A to add the sphere. Then I right clicked on the sphere and shade smooth to make it smooth. Now I clicked on that little button to separate the material and make a new one, and then I just gave it a different color. Then I selected the side, the rim of the door, the arc, new material, wood. The wood material should be brown, a little dark color, darker than the house. Yeah, just play around with it however you like it. Now I select the house because I want to give the windows a different color, and they're still part of the house. So how do I do that? Okay, I go into the edit mode, select the window. Now what I'm doing is I am in the face select mode, and I clicked on the edge of a face, and I pressed Alt and clicked, or Shift and clicked. Alt and clicked, most likely. Alt and left click to select those faces. Then I went into the material tab, added a new material, and then there's a button called Assign, and I assigned the new material to the selected faces. See? Now it still looks a little wonky to me, so I'm going to do a thing here. So I added a new cube. I'm going to do another Boolean thing, right? I want more of a border around the window, right? So in this part, I kind of forgot that I already had a cube as a Boolean object for the previous Boolean that I did to make the window. And when I tried to hide and unhide things, that cube popped up as well. So yeah, keep that in mind. It was kind of annoying. Just delete the cubes when you're done with them. That's the best thing. So I did the same thing. I applied a Boolean modifier to the house, and then I selected the new cube over the window. And instead of cutting it out, because I don't want to cut things out of the house, I added a solidify modifier to the new cube, right? The new cube has the solidify modifier. You can see it right here. So now I'm just reshaping it how I want it to feel, and the places I wanted to, make a cut into the house. Now you can see that the older cube is protruding, and I should have just deleted it when I saw it, but I chose to hide it for some reason. And you can see on the other side, on the right side, the circle for the door is also there. The shape for the door, yeah. Now whenever I'm trying to get into the edit mode, I keep selecting that cube. So yeah, I hit it again, which is a mistake. Don't hide them, just delete them. Then I Alt H to unhide the cubes, or H to hide them, and see, I finally deleted that stupid cube. Yeah. Now I have the main cube, and I just made it a little longer on the z-axis, and it has more of a cut now. Yeah. Now I'm just gonna apply the Boolean on the house. I'm gonna delete the other one as well. And I'm just gonna select these faces, right, like we did for the rest of the Windows frame. And I'm gonna go to the material tab after that, and I'm gonna assign it to those faces. Yeah, and it looks kind of like a proper window now with a frame. Now I'm gonna add a new material. I'm gonna name it mirror. You can name it whatever you want. And I'm gonna select the box at the back, assign it to that, and just give it a blue color to look like a mirror glass. Now I'm adding a material to the doorknob, making it yellow, orange yellow or something. Yep, making it brighter, just your preferences, do what you want to do. I pulled it a little bit out, shrunk it down. This looks more manageable, you know. And I added the same doorknob material to the mailbox, the wood material for the wood, and the red for, yeah, the door material for the red thingy that's supposed to be red. I just keep going on and adding materials to things. And since most of the things are linked because we alt duplicated them, so the tiles are linked, materials will be linked, and you just keep on adding materials of your choice to different things. It looks nice enough now. We have our house. Now we're gonna add some lights to the scene. We went into render view, and then we switched our render engine to cycles. You can enable the things that I am. Surprisingly, you have those settings while using the CPU as well, but I use a GPU, so I'm going to enable the GPU. Yeah, and now I'm just adding lights, like a sun. Yeah. Now you can move around the sun, you can change the rotation of it, and just see how it looks. You can brighten up the whole world, or you can darken it so that only the sunlight is the thing that's shining on it, or brightening up the scene. But I chose to brighten up the whole world scene, which I didn't do in the original tutorial. The tutorial that I followed that only used the light sources that we added instead of the world scene light thing. But yeah, that's why it'll look a little different in the end. I'm using the shift right click thing to place the cursor on different sides, and then I'm adding different lights to it. Now this is a area light. The first light was the sunlight. This is the area light. I'm going to change the color. I'm going to change the power of the light so that we can see it. And yeah, I'm going to move it back, make it look a little nicer, make the whole scene look a little nicer. Going to add one more. I'm gonna make it a little bluish. Gonna make it a little big. Making it blue because from the tutorial I followed, the guy said that it made sense that since the sky is blue, you should have a little bit of blue shining onto your object as well. So it did make sense. Gonna give it a little bit more strength. And see how it will look. Now you can just pump up the sun's strength if you want to and have a different look. But I like having, the scene light, the world being a bit brighter in this. But that's, your choice, however you like it. Now I stopped the shadows from different things, so only one side is casting the shadows. It looks a bit off, but it is what it is. Yeah, just play around with the lights until you're happy with them. And now I'm going to add a camera. You press Ctrl, Alt, and 0 on the number pad to position a camera to your view. Then I changed the camera to the orthographic camera. It's in the camera settings. You can click on the camera icon on the lower right side. Yeah. and you will see it. And then I changed the aspect ratio, the position, I set it to 1600 by 1200, and it looks fine to me. And I forgot to add the material to the antenna. I'm gonna make a new one for it. Emit antenna, and yeah, make it black, gray or black or something like that. Yeah. And yeah, we're done. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope it helped. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment, or you can just let me know. Have fun. Have a nice day. Bye bye.